It is 7:44, actually exactly 7:45 right now on this Friday morning wake-up call. At this time, we always do Friday with the Fuzz. Usually Mike Green is in, but it's just me, Derek Cooley, with the Chief, Jeff Swoboda. How are you, Chief?
Fantastic. Good morning. How are you?
Doing fantastic as well, because Friday. I always love to say fantastic. And Karen Flanagan from CERT. Good morning, Karen.
Hi.
Flanagan. We're keeping the Friday thing going.
Yes. Awesome. Fantastic, Flanagan.
Friday with Flanagan.
All right, so
Oh, she's taking over.
Karen, you're with CERT. You're
Yes,
with the Community Emergency Response Team. We'll get to all that in a second, because that's a huge thing right now, especially with the weather and the flooding and the roads, and I could keep going on that. But first, we've got a busy week next week with the Elgin Police Office. You have a couple events on Monday you want to talk about, Jeff?
Yeah, it's an exciting time for us. We're going to be, on Monday, going to be having our award ceremony. So
this is the yearly awards.
Yearly awards, yeah. So for 2013, we do a Rookie of the Year, which is a police officer who's been on the job less than 2 years, but has already made significant impact. And all these awards are by their peers. Mm-hmm. So they're nominated. They can be nominated by their boss, but also be nominated by their peers, but then voted on by their peers. So the first one is the Rookie of the Year, and then we're also going to have a Civilian of the Year, and then Officer of the Year, and then lastly Supervisor of the Year. So it's an exciting time where there's so much great work that's going on. It's a nice time. Everybody gets together. Some family shows up. A lot of people from the community, believe it or not. It's actually nice. We always have a great support from the community. And we just spent about a half hour or so talking about all the things that have happened. There's been a few life-saving awards that have gone over the years, some unit citations for some major cases that have occurred. So it's just a nice time to kind of reflect on 2013 and reward some great work that took place back then.
Yeah, and it was great work, and you guys are very, very transparent with the community. I'm sure they really appreciate that. That's why they like to show up to these types of awards. So you said the Civilian Award. What are some qualifications? I know a lot of civilians are probably listening right now here in Elgin. Like, oh, what does it take to get the Civilian of the Year from the Elgin Police Department? What are some qualifications or some past winners?
Yeah, I'm glad you say it, because actually it's civilian within the police department.
Okay.
But we are looking to right.
Yeah.
But it's in the police department we have the sworn officers, the police officers, and then we have a lot of people, kind of like Fantastic Flanagan, who's sitting here.
We're not spoiling any awards here. So.
No, because actually I do know now, but I didn't know as of a day or two ago, because again the awards committee is the one who votes on it, and so you just a civilian, so a person who's not a sworn officer, and then again has made impact within the police department, and many times that's out in the community. Sherry Ashenbrunner has won it in the past. Christy Hilton, who is behind the camera, has run it in the past. I don't know why everybody's pointing at Karen here. Did you? Okay, I'm sorry. So anyways, we're on camera as well here, so the person behind the cameras, I thought maybe I gave something away. So there's been a few people who've won that award, and it's just a matter of making impact within the police department.
Karen won it too.
Oh, that's what you're saying. Okay, I was trying to remember that. Okay, so Karen has won it as well. That's why I
just forgot about that.
I didn't know if you were
left out. I'm like, we shouldn't mention.
We've only had it going on for I think this will be the 4th year.
So
there's been 17 awards given out so far, because each one there's 3 for each. So it's tough to keep everybody in fact. But I figured you did win it, but I didn't want to say if you did.
Yeah. But there's a lot of great civilian work out there as well within the police department. You see, and definitely with social media and the work with the seniors that Sherry does. Also on Monday you have the Chiefs meeting, and do you want to explain that a little bit? Because I thought it would be something else, maybe a bunch of Chiefs getting together having a meeting for the county, but actually it's. If you want to go into their meeting with the chief.
Right, it's a meeting that I have, and it's at 6 o'clock at the police department, and anyone is welcome to come. And we talk about pretty much anything that people want to bring up. Sometimes it's about specific what's going on in their neighborhood. Sometimes it's more about plans of what are the police department what are we gonna do this summer on something, or a major initiative that we've had. Sometimes it's a certain crime that has occurred, or and other times are people upset with something and they want an answer. So it's a mixed bag of what people talk about. So we start at 6 o'clock. We end anywhere from 7 o'clock, 7:15. I've been there all the way till past 8 o'clock. So it's the time for the community to come and have my ear, but with me as always. If not, Deputy Chief Wolf is there. One of the commanders are there as well. Commander Lally is usually at every one of the meetings. So it's Christy Hilton is there. We started posting it on Facebook. She does a live discussion, so people who can't make it out are able to stay at home and still follow. And then they ask questions online. So if somebody can't make it down and wants to. If you're on Facebook with the Elgin Police Department, you can ask questions real time, and we'll throw out the question right there and then answer it. So it's just a way for us to once a month try to get people the answers they need. And another thing I always tell, because there's always we're the police department, and there's always something that we've done that somebody's not happy with, quite honestly, or they don't like the way we handled something. So it's a chance to, rather than let that just continue to go on and bug them or something, they can come down and ask, why did we do it this way? I don't understand this. Or sometimes just say, I don't like it. And we understand that, we respect that, and it's a time that they can come down and again, have my ear, have the command of the police department's ear, and bring up any issue that they want.
And usually you'll stay, if there's a lot of citizens, they can stay till, like you said, past 8. You'll just kind of keep going until the questions are kind of over with.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, and people kind of, some people come in a little late because they're coming back from work. Some people can only stay, or once they get their question answered, then they leave. It's very informal. We've had it as low as, I don't know, probably, 5-10 people, but as many as probably 20 or 30. So I really enjoy them. It's a chance to really get together, and again, we problem solve about some things. Some residents. It's interesting to have residents, because you'll have it on both sides. Why don't you do more of this? And one of the other residents is like, no, they shouldn't be doing more of this. So sometimes we just sit back and let them discuss the issues and it's kind of problem solve. But it's coming up this Monday. So anybody that wants to come, 6 o'clock. You don't need to register. You don't need to do anything. Just pop in, and 6 o'clock until we're done answering all the questions.
And then in March, after next week, we're going to all of a sudden be in March 2014. Out of nowhere, we have a couple of police academies: the Senior Citizen Police Academy, and also the Citizens and a CERT class. When are those taking place?
Yeah, I'll talk about the first couple, and then let Karen talk about the CERT class, because that's
that segue perfect.
That's her. Yeah, exactly. The Citizens Police Academy. It's something we do a couple times a year, and then the other one is the Senior Citizen Citizen Police Academy. There you go. And that's one, just because there's different issues. Those are held in the morning versus at night. It's a little bit shorter in time frame, but they're all, the common theme that they all have is just understanding more about what the Elgin Police Department, what we do. It's all the way from how we conduct a traffic stop to how we investigate a crime scene. And we've had, we'll do mock crime scenes, and then the citizen comes in and starts acting like a police officer. Here's what you have to do, and then we let them go through it. Then sometimes they make mistakes, and we explain why we do it this way. So we have our canine program come in, our gang detectives come in to talk about that. Our communicate, one of the ones that stands out that I know we get positive feedback on specifically is our communications department comes in and talks about what it's like to be a telecommunicator. So it's chance again, and it's over, I think, 6 or 7 weeks, and throughout that time, I mean, every question is answered. So even if we don't cover it specifically for a half-hour topic, we really get to know the people. And then what's really interesting is over the last few years, what's really taken off is there's an alumni association, and it's people who still want to be involved. And I tell you, they're one of the best group of people. They volunteer so much for the police department. They come in, they're part of the police department. They cook with us. They have a cookout during the summer times. They're also going to be part of the our award ceremony on Monday. They're volunteering. They're going to be there serving the cake and the coffee. And again, it's just the Citizen Police Academy Alumni Association. Then another group kind of broke off of them, and they're still part of them, but there's the museum committee, and then if you walk in the front of the police department, you see all of our artifacts going back over the years. They worked with Christy Schmidt and Brian Lawrence and really just have done a fantastic job putting that together. So what I really like about it, because I always say it, but and this is kind of an example of what it is, that the police department is the community's police department, and if you live in Elgin, that's your building. I mean, we work for you, and you want to be a part of it. You want to help make it a better place. Come on in, volunteer, work with us, and it's a great time. And then the last one, I'll let Karen talk about the CERT program and what that entails.
Thank you, Jeff. Well, CERT has been going on in Elgin since 2004, and it's a national curriculum, so anybody that takes a CERT class anywhere, it's the same thing. But we kind of have it differently here, where we have an advanced group. Once you take the basic class, then we meet once a month for more training, and then we get called out for many things like flooding and more flooding. And then I just recently started one of the first in Illinois, a teen CERT at Larkin High School. It's a pilot program that if it's successful, we're going to run it in Elgin High School and some of the other U46 and some of the private schools. So we'll see what happens there too.
So what's the curriculum for the teen CERT involved?
It's the same
very similar?
It's the same, very same. Yes, It's just that we have all teens involved. It's more, and actually they're very excited about it. They ask really good questions, so I'm glad to hear it.
So the class, is it all educational? Do they actually go out to the field and help you guys with things, with CERT?
The basic class is educational classroom, and then we do a mock disaster at the end, which kind of brings it all together. But once they complete that, then we have what we call CERT 2, and we meet once a month. And we get more training from, I always say Metro came out and trained us on emergency training, evacuations. We've gone underground pipeline training, mass sheltering. But then when we're needed, we're called out into the community too, as just like we did the other day with the flooding and going door to door, or down power lines with winds like we have now. So these people volunteer their time.
That's great. So it's been a pretty busy past couple of days.
It sure has. Yeah.
Describe what it's like to be part of the community emergency response team during times like these, especially this winter, but especially the last 3 days.
There's one thing that all these people, they come from all backgrounds and experiences, but there's one thing they have in common. That's the spirit of giving back to the community. They want to be there. They want to give. They want to help others. So I think they really like it when something happens and they can get out there and get involved and give back. I know we have some that don't mind sitting on power lines for a very long time, and then we have others that we'll look for missing children, and usually a lot of people come out for that, for missing people. With the flooding, we had several volunteers. We had teams set up, and we went door to door in the flood areas that we knew that had already flooded, and kind of prepared them for it. We spoke to some of the residents out there and handed out the packets, and I think that since 2004, I just added 26 more to our active list, so we have now almost 100 active members. Oh, right. But if something really happened bad, I could probably call 300 and have them tomorrow. Oh, absolutely.
And I know you want to allude to a couple of things you mentioned. First, this is kind of a little off topic, but you go up to the missing people, and we were talking about this off air, the Amber Alert yesterday, and how that went to every single phone.
Right.
How crucial is that nowadays with the technology to be able to get that word out that quickly? And also be able to find that the missing 3-year-old, or I think it was 5, 5-year-old kid. We had a picture. I mean, obviously we got the Amber Alert right away, and then you look online, you hear all the radios on TV. It's all Amber Alert, and then you get the picture of the van, and then the kid's recovered. How important has technology and how helpful has it been to let's say CERT and maybe missing child's units like that?
I think it's key. I mean, within an instant you see faces, you see the little boy's face. You know, I got on my phone. Everybody, you look on Facebook, and everybody's posting it, so the word's out right away.
Mm-hmm. And with also with the emergency management, we'll get like with those text messages. Like I never subscribed to anything. It's just with your phone. Like if there's a problem, you're gonna want to know regardless. Right. If that's your kid, you know, maybe you're sitting somewhere where you don't want to get a text message, and your phone rings and you get an Amber Alert. And you're like, well, that's not even really in my area. But I mean, think of it if it's somebody you knew, or if it's in your town, and there's a hospital out there with somebody's kid. You're definitely going to want to know. Also with flash floods, I know I've noticed we get flash floods, and especially around this time. I hope we don't see any of those text messages. But have you seen any of those text messages with the flash floods for that goes to everybody?
I don't think we've done yet for the flooding. I know we did it for the snow routes.
Yeah.
I can tell you one time in particular, several years back, we did a reverse 911 for a missing senior citizen from Sherman Hospital. It was the middle of the winter, and all he had on was his hospital gown. And we found him because of the code red. He was in a van in one of the neighborhoods that we had marked out. So he was found because of that. So I think that's very key. Technology is key to it.
You know, that's really what we're working towards as well. Because sometimes it's major incidents like we talked about, the Amber Alert, the child that was taken. But other times it's just a matter of a street light being out and somebody's on their way home. And so Christy Hilton, who's actually, again, videoing this for Facebook, we try to get as much information out as quickly as we can. And some of our best responses have been, I think it was just yesterday I saw one that was Randall Road. The lights were flashing up on, Randall up north of 90. And multiple people were like, thank you, I was going to be coming that way home. And so then they take a different way. Yeah. And then it's a win for everybody. The police aren't out there having to direct as much traffic through it. So if we can warn people beforehand, and then they can help us with it. And that really all ties hand in hand with the CERT program, that if we train people before we need them, once we do need them, then it makes it much easier. Because when there's something going on, you can't stand on the side of the road and teach somebody how to direct traffic. Yeah. What needs to happen is, like Karen's program is, we teach them to direct traffic beforehand. We give them the flashlights, give them the protective gear they need as far as, so that they can be seen at nighttime. And then when we need them to direct traffic, all we need to do is when they show up, say, okay, you take this intersection, you take that intersection, and it's done. And so that's where it's just been so successful. And the last point on the CERT point that I'll make is, or on the CERT team that I'll make, is that everyone who lives anywhere in town needs to know a lot of these things. I mean, I'm not very handy either. And so when I go to these CERT programs, I'll sometimes sit back and listen and watch because, how do you shut off the gas in your house? What do you do if you smell gas? What do you do if you start flooding your sump pump just went out? What are some of the things you could do to protect your own home? So it's not even about if somebody says, when it's snowing out, I don't want to go out and direct traffic. It's not even about that. It's about being able to, when something happens at your house, your relative falls down and breaks their leg. What is the first thing you need to do? or when a natural disaster strikes, because it's not an if, it's a when. When a natural disaster strikes, you need to be able to take care of yourself for a number of hours, potentially even days, depending on how bad of a circumstance it is. And so during that time, are you prepared for that? Because you're not going to be able to call the police, you're not going to be able to call the fire department. I'm talking about a major, tornado that wipes out a lot of people, a lot of homes, things. So at that point, how do you take care of yourself for a little while? So that's what Karen, I know, preaches. How many days do you tell people when a major disaster strikes? They
It used
say
to be
24?
3 to 5, now it's 5 to 7. FEMA says it's 5 to 7 days when a catastrophic thing happens. I mean, we could have a tornado, but then if there's a tornado by a chemical plant, that's even, just don't know.
Yeah.
So.
And so that's very important with the CERT programs, because not only are you informing the people and the citizens about CERT and what CERT does, you're kind of informing them what to do in case if you need to be your own CERT program. If you have no power for 7 days, 5 days, there's a disaster and there's communications are down, you got to be prepared. I had read, and we'll wrap this up here pretty quickly. I read online that there were a lot of sandbag requests because of the flooding. How's that going, and what kind of calls have you been getting between last night this morning?
Actually, what we did the last flood we did is we put sand bags out at the Holmes Road, our public works facility, for people to pick up. But this year we went further and staged them on the east side of the Fire Station 5, so the people on the east side could get them. I don't think that we had many calls. There were no problems that I know of, except we had one lady that needed help getting them, and I had a volunteer set up. But by the time I called her back, she'd already paid someone. So, but we were going to help out.
So it's community right there, though.
Exactly right.
It's interesting as well, and I know we're running out of time here. It's also just knowing your neighborhood and knowing, Karen went out with the CERT team and talked about the areas that are prone to flood, and a lot of them know that because they live there, but somebody may have just moved in, so maybe they don't know, so it's a reminder. But then also with the snowpack the way it is, the floods and the water isn't taking its normal course. I know in my neighborhood, because it's blocked in certain areas from the snow, areas where the water pools, it's not pooling there, it's pooling in other areas. So then that could affect somebody's basement. They may say, oh, it never floods in my basement because I'm in a certain spot where the water doesn't go. So it's just watching your backyard, watching if you live by a creek. I know I drove through Valley Creek today to check out, and that water seemed to be much higher than it was just even a day or two ago.
It was serene a couple days ago. I took a few pictures the day before and compared now. They're rising a little bit. Tyler isn't rising as quickly as Poplar Creek, and they're flowing a little bit faster now. Before they were at a standstill because of all the snow that was on top. The Eagle Heights Park still had snow on it last night, so we'll see. Maintain our watch.
How much more melting and how much more rising waters is there to be expected kind of with all this?
I think the temperatures are still to be cold for the next few days, so we'll have to watch it.
Might be somewhat of a benefit. You can look at it that way.
A slow thaw.
Slow down a little bit with the melting and all the water, so the ground can kind of get used to it as well. And is there any information, Karen, you want to give out about the CERT program, how you can get contacted in need if anybody has a problem? They
can go to our website, cityofelgin.org, and go through the division/CERT, I guess, or cityofelgin.org/CERT. The next class starts March 14th, I believe. It's run 2 times a week for 3 weeks, Tuesday and Thursday. It's free. Go in line and fill out your application, give it to me, or you can just show up and fill that app out that night.
Excellent. All right. Well, thank you, Karen Flanagan. Karen from the CERT Community Emergency Response Team. Chief Jeff Swoboda, always a pleasure.
Thanks for having me.
We'll see you next Friday.
Absolutely.
I promise Mike Green will be back. He'll be happy. He'll miss you.
Yeah, exactly.
He'll miss you so much, I bet. I bet he's listening right now. You're listening to AM 1410, WRMN, here in Elgin.